Hi students, welcome to DPR Maths. In this class, let us see that multiplication of given values by a common value gives a ratio. Okay, that means multiplication of all given values by a common value also gives a ratio of given values. Actually, to find a ratio, we have to divide the given values by a common value. But we can extend this one as even by multiplying the given values by a common value also will give a ratio. Okay, let us see that. For that, let us take an example. 72, 120 and next 180. Okay, let us find out a ratio of these values. For that, let us divide all these values by 1 by 2. That means let us perform 72 by 1 by 2 is to 120 by 1 by 2 is to 180 by 1 by 2, which is equal to 144 is to 240 is to 360. This is a ratio of given values. Given values. Okay, to got this ratio of these values, we perform. Okay, we perform division. That too, we divide all the given values by 1 by 2. Instead of dividing all these values by 1 by 2, we can multiply these values by 2 to get this ratio. Observe that if you perform multiplication of these values by 2, then you get, okay, 72 into 2, 120 into 2, 180 into 2. Then we will get 144 is to 240 is to 360 is, okay, is equal to already obtained ratio. This ratio is obtained by dividing all the values by 1 by 2, and this one is obtained by multiplying the given values by 2. So we can conclude that even multiplying the given values by a value not equal to 0, we can get a ratio. Okay, let us find out another ratio of these values only. Okay, for that let us divide these values by 3 by 2. 3 by 2, that is equal to 72 by 3 by 2 is to 120 by 3 by 2 is to 180 by 3 by 2. Then if we simplify this one, okay, so 24 into 2, 48. Next 40 into 2 mean 80, 60 into 2 mean 120. Okay, is a ratio of given values. We got this ratio by dividing given values by 3 by 2. But we can get this ratio even by multiplication of given values by 2 by 3 also. Let us check. Okay, for that let us multiply given values by 2 by 3. Then we will get 72 into 2 by 3, 120 into 2 by 3, 180 into 2 by 3. If you perform calculations, you will get 48, 80 and next 120. Okay, you can observe that these two ratios are equal, but this ratio is obtained by dividing the given values by 3 by 2, but this ratio is obtained by multiplying the given values by 2 by 3. So we can conclude that to get a ratio of given values, okay, we can divide the given values by a value, or we can multiply the given values by a common value. That means, okay, either division or multiplication of given values by a common value gives a ratio. Okay, thank you.